Hello everyone, and welcome. This is Vince of vinceprep.com, and I'm honored today to have a guest with us who was very, very successful in applying for the Sloan Fellows Master's Program, the MBA program for 1 year that's hosted every year at MIT. I'm going to let him introduce himself. My Russian isn't very good, so I call him Eugene, but I'll let him introduce himself more properly. And then we'll be chatting for a while. And I think the very valuable thing is he's going to give you his advice or his insights or tips from this process, because again, he was incredibly successful in this process. So please take it away.
Yeah, nice to meet you all. I'm Evgeny. So yeah, it's very close to the Vince pronunciation. Well, I'm the head of strategy and analytics at Skolkovo Foundation. So Skolkovo is the leading Russian nonprofit organization. It's a development institution. So we help startup and corporations in their innovative activities. So as for my title and area of occupation, so strategy stands for developing value proposition and support instruments for startup and corporations. So I'm in charge of developing internal processes, organizational structure, and performance metrics, all the stuff. So, and analytics stands for data, because all decisions should be data-driven, and so I collect and analyze the data. And what is not in the title is collaboration, because I also in charge of collaboration with local and international partners, such as development institutions, accelerators, and so forth. So in general, yeah, just as far as for my background, I do have 15 years of experience.
And I guess we can go into, maybe we won't for the sake of today, because you're planning to stay with your foundation after MIT. Is that right?
Yes. So it's about the aspirations. So I applied to MIT with the goal to learn more things about the acceleration and open innovation things, because well, when all my just MBA project started in the year 2017, when I started a field review of best practices of innovation centers. So I visited more than 10 centers around the world and realized that we need to change our approach to a new one, to corporate services. And while I was working on the new product, many times I realized that I was inventing the wheel. And one of the points I visited was Boston, and I heard the slogan MIT all over the place. So at that time, I first visited the campus, but well, I thought, okay, it's a nice place. It's all just fitted with innovation. Possibly I return there back. But I never, at that time, I didn't expect that I will apply.
But was that, you said, how many years ago you went to campus?
3 years ago. It was the winter 2017. Winter Boston, very chilly, but well, a lot of clever people and just spirit of innovation all over the place. And in summer of the year 2018, a conference was held there. So it was an anniversary event, and I just joined the team of startups and Skolkovo people to see how it goes. And that was the second time I was near the dome, and I said, okay, well, I need some knowledge, because when you just try to invent the things by yourself, you realize that you can just, if you learn best practices, you can do it better and faster. And after that, I started my research and found out that MIT is one of the best places I can ever search for. Kind of a combination of innovation practices. And since that, I started my preparation.
Basically, I'm jealous. People ask me sometimes if I could get an MBA, where would I go? I'm way too old. I'm 50 years old, but um, I have two answers. If it had to be a US program, it would certainly be MIT. Um, I've been to the campus myself, and I feel what you're talking about. It's very different from my undergraduate institution. It's different than Stanford in a sense. Both of them love technology and innovation, but MIT to me just seems much deeper. I don't know how else to explain it, but it just has a very deep roots, and it's incredibly analytical, and I'm quite emotional, so it's a good
Mhm.
counterpoint for me. And then
Uh-huh.
globally, if people ask me if I couldn't go to an MBA in the United States, where would I go? And my answer is immediately, without blinking an eye, I would go to INSEAD.
Mhm.
Same thing. It's very, very accelerated, very innovative. I've just everything I hear and everyone I meet who's related to INSEAD impresses me a lot. But that's just my story. Basically, I'm jealous. I want to go to MIT.
Well, one comment: in Russia, MIT is not so famous. So in Russia, the number one school is Stanford. So, and recently we've got a film about the Silicon Valley. So, and Stanford is is very famous. And there is one advice to you, to your students. And just later, I may address this thing just in more detail. But first of all, try to talk to people who graduated, because America is about all types of flavors, and there are very different schools. They're great schools, but you need to understand your cultural fit. And the only way to do it is to talk to people. And if you love this, you need to get the spirit of the school. You can read the site, you can just read the brochures, manuals, but you need to see the people. And all the schools, they select very diverse class, but all the people are united by some spirit and shared values. And if you share them, you can just gauge your cultural fit, whether it's Stanford or MIT or say, other school, because they are very distinctive in just the atmosphere. And Sloan is very collaborative. Stanford is more just active. People are younger. People are more active. MIT is more reserved. But you feel it. You definitely feel it.
And you have big visions, and you've made a little bit of reference to it so far about professional services. But can you tell us more about how you plan to utilize this training that you're about to get, or that you'll eventually get from MIT?
Yes. So my just big goal is to build the open innovation platform to connect startups and corporations. So it's kind of a combination of online platform and internal processes. Because the key problem that every startup faces is how to find the consumer, how to just first pass the Death Valley and find the right fit to market. And every corporation usually faces the same problem: how just to find the right startup and not to spend too much resources on developing the right solution. So, in this sense, the foundation can just bridge the gap because it sees the data both from startups and from corporations. So, and we may help them. We may just spend resources and bridge the gap. Uh, and so that's why we're just doing some corporate programs to learn what corporations need. And this summer, we'll be launching the internal program for startups, kind of a startup-centric thing. And this program was inspired by the Bill Owlett's book, Disciplined Entrepreneurship, so 24 Steps. And I've already participated in many events. Luckily, to this crisis, they are online now, so you can just participate in them from all over the world. And pitch to match things, the contests by the Cambridge Innovation Centers. So this is a great boost, and I think that when I just immerse into the Boston Innovation System, I learn more, and when I return, I can use all the things. So this is not advice. So talk to people. They will show you resources, and you may test and check all the things through the practice, because there are a lot of courses available in every school. So try to learn, try to participate as soon as possible. And another thing, just from my personal experience, so I tried to tackle the MBA project from kind of a nerdy perspective. I thought that I need to study as hard as possible, and it's about learning. Of course, it's about learning, but it's more about talking to people. Because, well, it's a transformative experience, but transformation is not in just learning things. It's kind of a byproduct. It's in terms of speaking to very different people. You need to convince them. You need to pitch your ideas, and so forth. So transformation takes place through collaboration, and it's a very difficult thing for many technical guys, for those who are focused on figures, on processes, but it's very amusing. All your classmates are, well, they're from very diverse places. They share very different stories, but you learn quite a lot. So try to find the graduates, try to find the current class, and they will tell you quite a lot. Because you can learn about new resources, but if you talk to many people, you first of all you clarify your own vision, your own idea, and it's a more important thing. You should have kind of just at least the direction. Why are you applying? Your views may change, so stay open-minded. This is advice from the current class. So stay open-minded, because you learn about many opportunities, but you should have at least one direction, because there are so many things around, so you get just disfocused. And I've talked to some people at the graduations. They said, okay, we've learned quite a lot of things, but well, we now start thinking what we'll do after that. It's not good. It is possible. There could be career changers, but the most efficient thing is that you have some direction, and you just understand how to focus it more. And if you talk to people, you learn more. They'll tell you about these things. I just joined the chat, just participate in conversations. I've learned just nearly 90% of the resources from just talks, not from my own internet search. Through collaboration, you find colleagues and collaborators.
If you could quantify from a sort of data-driven perspective, roughly how many of these chats or conversations have you joined?
Well, through the orientation, so currently there one main chat, and it's in WhatsApp. So there is official Slack, of course, but Slack is not so widely used. We do have the WhatsApp chat, and around 3 to 5 groups, subsequent groups. And there are some regional chats. So there is Russian-speaking chat, there is Asian-speaking chat, there's Asian chat, Indian chat, so some regional groups, because the class is around 100 people, and they are currently very, very, very diverse. And there are some local chats structured based on some geographical preferences. There's chats related to, say, Cambridge life. And yeah, because people, they try to gather and exchange information. Because if you have family, you may face some issues related to school, housing, medical insurance, and so forth. So it's the best thing is just to find people from your graduate from your class, and talk to the graduates, and they'll tell you what it takes to bring kids to Cambridge. They tell you about many things about medical insurance and so forth. So
and
through
even so, after you got admitted, you were so active. But even before you applied, you impressed me with the depth of your research. How many people roughly, or how many interactions before even submitting the application did you have?
Well, at that point of time, so MIT graduates are rather rare in Russia. So I've talked to three to four people, and thank you, Vince, that you've introduced me to a Japanese student. And that was kind of an international project. So another thing, if you don't be afraid of working with people from all over the world. And so I've studied, I've improved my accent with the accent coach from Boston. I've just worked with essays, and I've talked to Vince. So it was just very, very geographically separated project, quite an international project. So don't be afraid of.
I'm always looking for good people. If you don't mind me asking, who did you work with in Boston on accent reduction? Because sometimes people ask me for advice, and I don't know anyone. I only know one person in Chicago.
Sorry for.
Don't worry. It's okay.
We can
email later.
The note. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And Karen. Sorry. How to?
Don't worry about it. Sorry, that was a surprise question.
Karen Van Hook. Karen Van Hook. Yeah.
Cool. Like Van Hook, HOOK.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kind of a let's say Holland.
Yes.
Suffixes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great, and congratulations. And any other things you wanted? Your advice is super helpful. Anything else you wanted to share with the group today?
Well, I suppose the advice. So you can. This year is very challenging, but it changes the atmosphere of the face of the education. So a lot of courses are online. So what I advise you, and they're free of charge. So if you are not sure what type of school to apply, you can visit all the webinars, because there are quite a lot of them. And so start early. Right now it's just right time to visit all the orientation courses. Many schools are still hiring students, and they are still making some information sessions. So you can visit them, and you get the perspective, things through first hand. The school will be talking to you, and they'll tell what's going on. The second thing is there are a lot of so graduates are very available now, because the barriers are just you can reach them online through Zoom, through Skype, through social networks. Before that, face-to-face conversations were relatively more valuable, and people were not reluctant to use Zoom. But now you can easily reach people and try to determine what type of school you want. So start right now. Do not delay preparation, saying that okay, so I need to study GMAT or TOEFL, and only after that I start writing my essays and talking to people. No. Start right now.
That's the best advice I've ever heard. I mean, that's really the key, is to take action, small steps. People in this market try to compartmentalize, score. Then hi, who knows this program? And I'm always saying, but people don't believe me. what you just said.
Yeah, and try to split the project into some steps, because it's about emotional roller coaster. So you may just succeed and fail and succeed and fail. It takes a lot of time and effort. Try to split it into some steps to see the progress. Because if someone will tell me that, because I've applied to 2 programs and it was very immense, so and I know that some people they apply to 4, and it takes a lot of time. So try to split it, and you see the result. So you'll be just gradually achieving the result. Develop a plan, kind of a plan in, say, Trello, or in your notebook to just cross the stones to feel that you are just moving step by step. It's important.
What was the software that you mentioned for planning purposes?
Trello. If you're just a fan of IT things, if you're kind of an old school guy with just notebook, I've got my just hard copy, kind of a paper thing. I've made checklists and crossed it because it gives a feeling of some achievement. But because you need to see that you just made a step every day, step by step, and it's quite doable. Quite a lot of people achieve this goal. It's doable, but it requires, of course, it requires effort. But it requires determination. But you can do it.
I took a look at your resume before this conversation to just brush up, and I noticed something on your resume that on your CV, I almost never see it. You included an entrepreneurial failure at the bottom of your CV, just above the additional information. That I rarely see that, especially here in Asia. But tell us why. Folks at home can't see your resume, but you chose to add a startup, and you were very transparent in saying that it got started and then you had to abandon it. Tell me your thought process about choosing to include a quote failure on your CV.
It's important from the cultural perspective. So Russian people, they are very much like to Asian people. They usually do not want to speak about failures. But failures are very important. And if we are speaking about the Western schools, American schools, it's important to understand the culture and the thought process. So look at your CV through the eyes of EdCom. And usually it's related to general storytelling. All the stories, they usually have start from failure. So I did something or some situation interests me. I realized that I cannot do it. Some thought process, and then you achieved it and you mastered it. My startup learned me you learn through failures, actually. When you do things good, you usually do not try to analyze what was bad, because you achieved the result and it's okay. But you learn through the failures, because you're trying to analyze what went wrong, and you improve yourself. So that startup taught me that the single founder project is not viable, because I had doubts. Well, I'm just clever and I can do it. I've worked with startups, so no. And that another lesson was that more practice is better than thinking. So just better actions instead of just great plan, because everything can get different. And that is you should not outsource the core things. So, and it's about the teamwork. So action and teamwork, two important lessons, and they are very applicable to my MBA project. So that failure led to success. And I know you should not just find some failure projects and put it into the top lines of your CV, but you should learn lessons from that. You possibly may mention about this. And investment cultures, they are open to failures. But it should teach you something. Don't be too negativistic. Don't just to say, so I failed. There should be some lessons. You should show that you just stand up and go next step. It's
Awesome.
about persistence. It's important.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It's totally about persistence. And we were chatting before the call, before the video. You're being very persistent now. And I guess maybe to end on an optimistic note, you've already said, basically to summarize what I've heard you say, the main thing that resonated with me is start early and balance conversations with preparations. And in this era of COVID-inspired uncertainty, your attitude, your persistence, and your resilience seem to be well matched. So I wish you all the luck in the world at MIT and beyond, and also before, during, and after. My favorite thing in the world is to stay in touch with people that I was able to help. So please don't be a stranger and keep me posted.
Mm-hmm. And good luck to you. So stay healthy, stay safe, and good luck to you. And you can do it. Just try to do it. Just stop thinking, then start doing. Yeah, so that's start today. Because when people say, so tomorrow or on Monday I do something, don't delay. Just do it now.
Awesome. Well, great. Have a good time and enjoy your family. And please let me know how it's going. If you ever need anything, I'm always here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And thank you, Vince, because you just inspired me. When I first found your site, well, I thought, wow, such great videos, such great advice. And it's a great pleasure to participate now.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your motivation for other people to stick with it. Take action. Yeah. Cool. Stay in touch. Bye-bye.